Let's strategize together. Let's hear it from an expert. Join the conversation, it's informative and free. You and me, let's talk some strategy. Now here's your host, Morin-van.
Hello, everybody. I am your host, Morin-van, and I'm here with another episode of Strategy Talks. It is the end of August, and I cannot believe I'm planning out 50 of these shows and podcasts for 2022. I'm really excited to be here today with a special guest all the way from Switzerland. But before I introduce you to her, I want to do a quick shout out to everybody. If you are here live, thank you so much for watching. Let us know where you're joining us from in the comments, and that way we can welcome you. If you're watching this on the replay, put hashtag replay in the comments as well, so we know if you have a question. Last but not least, welcome to those of you who are listening to Strategy Talks as a podcast. We appreciate you being here. A special shout out to our sponsor, Social Insider. They are the intuitive dashboard for social media analytics, reporting, and competitors analysis for brands and agencies. If you need data, you need Social Insider. So without much further ado, I'm going to welcome my guest to come up on stage with me. And here she is. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Doreen. So good to be here. Excited to talk to you.
I know. Finally, we were just talking in the green room, and we weren't sure if we'd actually met on camera before. I know we've talked online. We've been connected for quite a long time. So I'm very excited.
Years,
Yes, I'm very excited to have you here. And for those of you watching, listening, let me introduce you to Sarah. Sarah Santa Croce. I'm going to say it. Oh, I just was practicing then.
You
Sarah,
had it before. Santa Croce.
Santa Croce. Over a decade of running a successful LinkedIn consulting business inspired a yearning in Sarah to create a global movement that encourages people to bring more empathy and kindness to business and marketing. As a hippie turned business coach, Sarah has written 2 books, hosts a Humane marketing podcast, and works with heart-centered entrepreneurs to question their assumption when it comes to marketing and give them permission to market their business their way, the gentle way. Sarah shares a fresh perspective and doesn't shy away from calling things out that no longer work for many of us when it comes to the current marketing model. Her clients sometimes refer to her as the female Seth Godin. So Sarah, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Glad to be here and talk about marketing, our kind of thing, right? We've been in this since the early days, it seems like.
Yeah. So you were telling me in the green room, you have been doing this since 2007. Wow.
Yeah, about that. Yeah, it's a bit blurry because I was starting the first business while the kids were still small. And so it was kind of like part-time. And so it was all a bit blurry. But yeah, we were living in California at the time. And I remember it was the early days of Facebook and Twitter. And yeah, all of these platforms were just like the big buzz back then. And that's how I got into it.
That's awesome. And so now you are located in Switzerland, correct?
Yeah. Back home. So originally from Switzerland, born and raised, and back here for now, for good, I think. I don't know. You never know in life where it takes you, but enjoying it and still, working very globally. So I enjoy that part of the online business for sure.
Yeah, so that's what was going to be my question. So Humane Marketing, 2 books. What are the titles of your books?
The first one is called Marketing Like We're Human. And then the audience, the readers were like, well, what about selling, Sarah? It's all nice to do marketing, but what we really want to do is sell. And so I followed up with Selling Like We're Human. So those 2 books are kind of And it's funny because in marketing, we have this thing where we say, sell people what they want and then give them what they need. And I did the opposite with
Yeah.
the marketing book first. And it's like, yeah, that's what you need. But then readers are like, yeah, but we want to sell. And I'm like, oh, right. Okay, here's the selling book. It's just because I never thought of myself, as a salesperson. Like, I'm a marketing person, but more
Right.
and more, I believe like all the corporations and the big businesses have it all wrong if they have these two departments completely separate. Because quite
Amen.
frankly, they need to talk together, they need to be one and the same. And so, it makes a lot of sense to start with marketing and then go to selling. But oftentimes now the readers tell me, I started with your selling like we're human and then got into the marketing. So both approaches work.
Yeah, but the point that you just made is a very important. And if you're watching this, if you're a business owner, if you're a CEO, if you're working C-suite, we have some of those in our audience listening or watching. It's very important for you to recognize that sales and marketing need to communicate. And there's somebody out there that I follow, Marcus Sheridan, used to be the sales lion, but he says they ask you answer. That's his book. But he talks about a third department that needs to be involved with sales and marketing, and that's revenue. And I think it's really important when all three of you work together, because sales is trying to sell and it's making sales. Marketing doesn't know what's being sold, what product is most popular, what service. And then if we don't know what's the actual revenue, you could be selling things that have barely any margin. So you need to know as a marketing team, and you need to communicate with everybody. So let's dive into Humane marketing. What is it? How did you come up with that? What is it? What is different about it than regular marketing? Sarah, I'm going to give the floor to you. Let's talk about it.
Thank you. Yeah. It was a few years back after running this LinkedIn consulting business for over a decade. I really just felt like more and more, I'm like tired of this whole online marketing business thing. And I felt like I was just not good at business anymore. That's really what it felt like. I felt like I'm living through a burnout or yeah, some kind of falling out because it just didn't resonate anymore. And so I was on the therapist's chair and I'm like, I'm just not made for this anymore. I think everything feels so out of integrity. It feels we're all just kind of like wearing these masks talking to masks, faking things, using these techniques and false urgency and all of that crap. And I'm like, I can't do it anymore. I can't do it for my own business. I can't pretend to teach it to my clients. And I'm like, I'm done. I think I just have to give up. Or then all of a sudden I had this epiphany. I'm like, well, I need to come up with my own a different way. And so this, how as marketers, we always think in domain names, or at least I did. And
Yes.
this domain name, the Gentle Business Revolution, came to me because that's really what I felt like we needed. And it was interesting because just a few months later, Mark Schaefer, big marketer as well, came out with his book, The Marketing Rebellion. So we're definitely aligned in terms of like we really need to shake things up here, revolution and rebellion. And that's really what I felt like. We need something, more gentler, more humane. And so that's where the term humane, then gentle, kind of evolved. And I got into some trademark mess with gentle marketing. So it evolved to humane marketing, which I love much more, even because it's so inclusive. It also has the word human in it. And
Right.
so it means let's do marketing the human way, the humane way, the gentle way. If we want to use business for good, and with all the problems that we have in this world, we need to use business for good. But we can't do that if we still market to our clients the old, shady, bullshitty way, because our clients have evolved, Consciousness has evolved huge over the last 2 years, even before, but over the last 2 years. And yet marketing hasn't evolved. And so we're still talking to our clients as if they're idiots and they don't know that, we're making all of these things up, and there's templates, and so we need to just, come with the truth, come with transparency, and come with this human interaction, and not talk to them as if they were, not understanding what our real intention is. That's what humane marketing is.
And I love that. And I know that there are several other people besides Mark Schaefer talking about this and being real and bringing, H2H, human to human. It's not business to business or business to consumer. It's human to human. Right. And let's stop that. I love that you're just using words that are real. And I assume that you do that on your own podcast and when you write your book. And there's two trains of thought here, right? So you can either, if you're a new marketer and you're watching this, because part of our audience includes marketers, and you're like, okay, I'm going to learn everything Doreen does or everything Sarah does. I'm going to do it exactly that way. You're basically copying somebody else's, right? But the part about humane marketing, what I'm hearing you say is be unique, right? Be different, be your own person, but have that one-on-one outreach. So can you give us some examples on maybe how it's different or where it's different? And, the title on here says Humane Marketing on LinkedIn, but we were talking, obviously this can be applied to any platform. If you're watching this on YouTube or listening on a podcast or watching this on Facebook, humane marketing can be applied anywhere, right? So, which is great. But if you can give us some examples on what are some of the differences? If everybody goes left and you go right, how is it different? I would love to know.
Yeah, thanks. And I'll give you those examples in a minute, but I just want to go back to what you said. And it's so true, because the old kind of approach was, there's these few gurus, we all know them by names, right, Doreen? And we're like, these are the big ones, so they must know what they're doing. So let us just copy what they're teaching, and because they were teaching, a lot of them were teaching these templates. And so in the end, you had just a bunch of clones and everybody was doing the same thing. The first thing I did when looking at humane marketing and how it's different, I looked at the 7 Ps of marketing. Not my framework, has been out there since the 60s, but I thought, what do we need to do differently in order to make this change? And so I came up basically with the 7 Ps of humane marketing. And instead of having them being different, separate circles, I kind of shaped them into the form of a mandala, because a mandala is a creative process that brings you to your center. And so by going through these 7 Ps, it will bring you to your center so that you can market from within. That's the idea. And the first 2 Ps, passion and personal power, those are the ones that have nothing to do with marketing, we think, right? We're like, passion, personal power sounds kind of like woo-woo almost. But that's the thing that most new entrepreneurs skip. They go straight to who's my avatar and who's my client. Let me chase after them.
They want the money. And they don't, a lot of them don't think long-term. And I love that you brought up passion, because a successful business is sustainable when you have a true passion for what you're doing, and that shines through in everything you do. So that's the piece of human that you bring to the business. I love that.
Exactly. So instead of starting with the avatars and the clients, we have to look inwards first and see who we are, what our values are, our worldview, our story. Look at all of that so that we can really show up as unique. Like this term authentic is kind of, to me, it's almost like a buzzword, unfortunately. It's a good word, but it's become a buzzword because you see so many Instagrammers and influencers use it and pretend they're authentic just because they haven't washed their hair or whatever. And that's not authentic. Authentic is like really doing the work, owning your story, coming full circle, showing up like that, and being the same person, whether you are with friends or online. Well, not exactly the same. We're always a bit different in families.
I think we're all the same online, but amplified. That's how I explain it. Be who you are, but amplify it. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
loud. When I'm in the crowd, my family always tells me, stop talking so loud. I'm a loud person. I speak loud. So when I speak on stage, I'm really loud because I want to reach out to everybody, right? But I'm still authentic. I'm not
Right.
going to pretend to be somebody I'm not. So yeah,
Exactly.
that's a good point that you're making.
Yeah.
Um,
So it's really like starting from within and then looking at the pragmatic business stuff like, okay, who's our clients, what's our product, what's our price and promotion and all of that. So that's what the 7 P's of humane marketing are for. Now, you asked me, well, what are these? How are they different, right? And
yeah,
the thing is, it's subtle differences because I'm actually not saying let's throw out all the these old marketing techniques. I'm not saying let's not use scarcity anymore or let's not use urgency and all of these, but let's really be mindful and look at them with awareness and say, okay, how can I somehow make sure that I guide my client and help them make a decision and use some kind of scarcity because yes, my program is really closing. That's a real fact. This is true, right? It's the truth. But in a way that doesn't shame them or tell them you're not enough if you're not signing up to this program, kind of like using facts, truth, um, and yeah, being authentic and explaining much more. I think we've done so much damage over the last 15 years by kind of being shady. Starts with the affiliate links, not being transparent when we're using affiliate links. It goes into yeah, saying that we have only 3 spots left if actually we haven't even filled a class yet at all. So just being really mindful about being transparent, explaining things, using the right words. Like I've gotten really allergic with words this marketing lingo, like, lead magnet. If you picture that, a picture of a lead magnet, it's like it's like you're
yeah.
sucking clients towards you and it just doesn't feel good. So I call them signposts in the Selling Like We're Human book, and it's different signposts. Your ideal clients can sit on a bench under a tree and kind of sit with that signpost and absorb your podcast or watch a video and then go to the next step in your gentle sales path. So not a sales funnel where we're like funneling everybody down the same hole, but a kind of, it's a lot about giving more power or give back the power to the client and
I
say,
love
look,
that. I love
I
that.
have a
And
solution. And if you need that solution, if it's for you right now, then I'd love to work with you. Right.
I just had that picture of you saying it's sitting on a bench watching the signpost. The other thing that happens instead of being sucked into this magnet and, going to the lead and going into the funnel where you feel like you don't have a choice anymore, right? They're just going to
Yeah.
inundate you with things. While you sit on that bench and look at the signpost, you also can people watch and watch other people and see
Yeah.
what they're responding and what they're commenting and be part of the conversation before you make a decision. And I
Right.
love that. That's very human. So absolutely, that is a great analogy for doing that. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And just being really mindful of the energy of some of these words that we've gotten used to almost, the sales funnel and what's the other one? Oh, a client actually just commented on my site when I said instead of get your download, I had grabbed your download. And so she's like, oh, that feels like really scarcity energy if you tell me to grab it because it might go away. And so it's all these small details, just becoming more aware of what bothers us with this pushy manipulative energy and where we actually feel at ease and say, oh, I do feel like Doreen has a solution for what I offer and I want to work with her. It's a
Right.
different energy.
So basically, what I'm hearing you say, and we are almost at the end already, believe it or not, that you're giving people permission to do marketing their way, to
Yeah.
not have to give up or sell your firstborn child, or to give up your ethics, or to give up what you think is the right way, but to find a path through your passion, through, discovering what you stand for and what your values are, to market the way that feels good to you and that feels good to the person at the end, that's ultimately your client, your customer, buying from you because you're real. Is that what
Yeah.
you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying. And the counter question I always get on podcasts or other places is like, well, Sarah, how do we know that this works? Right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Sarah, how do we know that this works?
Yeah. And what I would like to ask the audience instead, and I have plenty of stories. I know it works. The research in the book is all stories that is basically proof that it works. But the counter question I have is like, is the stuff that you're doing or that you see people do, is it still working for you? Because if it is, then that just means great, you don't need humane marketing, or you're not ready yet for the next paradigm shift, because really what we're talking about, Doreen, is a paradigm shift,
Yeah,
right? We're in the middle of it. And so if the old way still works for you and you're getting clients left and right, and you feel like you're actually creating a sustainable long-term business that will still be here in 10 years, then you're golden. You're not, you don't need the next thing.
sure.
But I'm ready to bet there's a lot of people who are like, you feel it in your body. You feel it's like, this is not working for me anymore. So
Or
that's how we know it works.
it never really worked. I
Yeah.
tried to follow all these gurus and do what they said, and it's really not working. Sarah,
Yeah.
I think we can talk another 20 minutes, but our time is up, believe it or not. So how
Yeah.
can people and where can people find you?
Yeah, they can go over to my site, humanemarketing.com. The book is on Amazon, or also on my site, humane.marketing/book one. The one-page marketing plan with the mandala and the 7 Ps is at humane.marketing/one page, the number one and the word page. Thanks
Okay.
so much.
Excellent. And what social media platform are you most active on?
I'm mainly on LinkedIn. That's where
Okay.
I still hang out. Yeah.
Okay, so if you want to connect with Sarah, make sure you send her a note with your request to connect and let her know you watched her or listened to her on Strategy Talks. I will be back next week with another episode. Sarah, anything that you want to let people know before we go? A tip or any encouragement? Somebody might be stuck. What would you tell them?
I would tell them to start being more aware of other people's marketing, because I'm ready to bet you cannot unhear what you heard here. And so now every time you see a shady headline or something where you feel like, oh, it doesn't make me feel good when I receive this person's marketing stuff, just unsubscribe, you have the choice.
Oh, that's wonderful. You have the choice. I love that. Well, I'm going to end it here. Again, Sarah, thank you so much for being here. And
Thank
thank
you.
you all for being here in our audience. And I will be back next week, like I said, with another episode. I'll see you all soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.